Hello, everyone, and welcome to MATHurdays. Math's so fun, we do it on Saturdays. My name is Teresa Wills. I'm an assistant professor at a George Mason University in the Mathematics Education Leadership Department. These are routines and problems that I have implemented both in the Math Specialist course that I teach in and also in K-12 classrooms. I've been teaching online now for a decade and specifically using interactive slides for the past 6 years. It's my preferred method of teaching because it gives my students more opportunities to collaborate, interact, and have student voice. And I'm here today to show you some strategies about how you can do that in your mathematics class through a number sense routine and then with a rich math task followed by the 5 practices for orchestrating purposeful mathematics discussions. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm spamming your chat right now with a link to the Google Docs. You'll need to have 2 windows open. The Blackboard Collaborate window, which if you can hear me, you have it open, and also Google Slides. You'll notice on slide 1, I have a hashtag if you are implementing this or any of the activities from MATHurdays in your classroom or your summer learning or your summer school classes. Please go ahead and post it out there so that other teachers can see the successes and help to network with one another. You can follow me or you can email me. I've got some links on the side, my email address, my website, Twitter handle, and also my YouTube channel. So feel free to check those out. Slide 2 is some information. If you are interested in becoming a math specialist, you can join our 100% online program at George Mason, where you will experience math tasks much like this as you earn a master's degree and an endorsement in math specialists. And then if you join me on slide 3, these are 2 links you're probably going to want to bookmark or keep in the background. Any template that you see done in one of these class sessions are available to you. So are the recordings of this session and many other MATHurdays sessions. And then join me on one of the next 4 slides. Slide 4, 5, 6, and 7 are successes and celebration slides. And I'm going to ask that you place a text box somewhere on one of those and you share something that you're celebrating. What successes have you had either in your personal lives or your teaching lives? And Kristen, can you start off with that adorable picture of the puppy? When did you get the puppy and what's the puppy's name?
Hi, that is Zoe, and we got her, let's see, about a month ago. So she is 3 months old, and she's a golden doodle. Lots of work.
Oh, it's so cute. Love the name too. Let's see, let's chat with Erin. Erin, you've been productive recently. How's portfolio work going?
It's going so good. I was finally able to really look and find some good research yesterday and start really narrowing my interests and really finding some connections with the work I've been doing in my classes.
Awesome, wonderful. Laura, I see that you are able to reach out to your students via internet now. Is that something that you're going to be able to continue through the summer?
Oh my gosh, Teresa, yes. We've been working, I teach in a Title I school here in Fairfax County, and a lot of our students don't have access to internet, sadly, and we've been working for 3 months to get this student connected, and I'm literally about to start crying because one of my kids just got internet and he'll be able to do virtual summer school.
Wow. Oh, I'm so excited to hear of your successes. Keep posting them, keep sharing them because it inspires other teachers to do the great things that you're doing. I'm so excited for your students. Who is restoring a Model 2A? I am so curious about this. My dad used to restore Model Ts, so we have something in common.
That is me. That was my father's truck when he was 14 years old and starting his own business. He bought it as a junker, got it just in running order, but it was never super nice until just the last couple of days.
Very cool. For anyone who has thought about driving these old-fashioned cars, let me tell you, it is not something so easy. There are more levers and gears and foot pedals than you know what to do with. So I wonder if that one is similar to the ones that I remember back in the day. Awesome.
It's not a smooth ride, that's for sure.
For sure. And many of you all are ending your school years with your students. Michelle, tell us a little bit about how school ended and how it was for you.
Well, it was kind of bittersweet, but we stopped planning for school, and now I'm planning for my sons, Caleb and Colin, and they want to play at the higher level in soccer. So I said, all right, we're going to do it. So we have a big 3-a-day workout program. It's 6 weeks long. We planned out the meals and what athletes should be eating. We're trying to get away from meat and do like farm to table kind of thing, you know, not bacon, not sausage, you know, like chicken and fish. And it was a process. We just finished 10% of the plan today.
Wow. Well, I know that you are amazing at plans. So I actually, I'm sure I will see this plan as it develops and its completed project, and I look forward to it. Yes, I couldn't live without bacon, but you know, more power to you guys. All right, folks, this is Successes and Celebrations. If you are new to this or other classes, you won't know this, but everyone else who has been here before knows about Successes and Celebrations. They get started on it right away. It's one way that I get students to actually log in a few minutes early to class because this is our community building area. You'll also notice some people chose to put pictures in. Sometimes we get links to videos and GIFs. We get text boxes. It is a place of unstructured freedom to be you and to share what you want to share. So let's get into a little bit of our structured routines. If you want to come down on slide 8, our math routine today is find it. And to get ready for thinking about our math routine, I have a little video for you to watch on slide 9. Go ahead and watch the video on slide 9. When you're done, you can show me you're done by clicking onto slide 10.
What are you going to order?
I don't know. The fish looks good.
I don't like fish. I was fishing off the coast of Alaska when Dog jumped in the water and he was all wet. It reminded me of the song about a man whose dog dies and his truck stops working, and there was something about a train. Even though my dog didn't die and I don't have a truck because I was on a boat, but it made me really sad. So once I listened to it backwards to see if the truck would start working and the dog didn't die, but it just sounded weird and I was still sad. Do you ever listen to country music backwards?
What are you even talking about?
Fish. I'm talking about fish because it reminds me of when my dog died, like that movie that had that guy in it from the other movie that was hilarious, remember? It was about space and there was the woman with the blue hair. I laughed so hard milk came out of my nose.
Oh, my phone is ringing.
I don't hear a phone.
No, really, I have to take this. That entire time, I spoke 25 words to his 175. That means for every one word I spoke, he spoke 7 words. He spoke 7 times as much as I did. 7 times. It was like me, talk, him, talk, 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 talk. Me, talk, him, talk, 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 talk. So, do you like fish?
Don't like fish.
I asked the last guy I dated about fish, and he rambled on about trucks all night. Have you ever dated someone who talks too much?
Can't trust fish.
My phone is ringing. That entire time I spoke 36 words to his 6. For every 6 words I spoke, he only spoke 1 word. I spoke 6 times as much as he did. 6 times! It was like me. Talk, 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 talk. Him. Talk. All I want is a guy that can talk with me on a 1-to-1 ratio. So, do you like fish?
I don't like fish. My roommate does, though. Do you like fish?
I do like fish. Gosh, I've been on some bad dates lately.
Funny. My roommate says the same thing.
Do your dates talk about fish?
Not really. Do yours?
One date talked about fish, had a truck, and listened to country music backwards.
My roommate talks about fish, has a truck, and listens to country music backwards.
I think I dated your roommate. Have you noticed we talk about the same amount? A 1-to-1 ratio.
Indeed, we do talk about the same amount. A 1-to-1 ratio. Bread.
All right, folks, I'm noticing most people are already headed down. And this routine, I am asking you all to do all the work. You're going to go out and you are going to find it. So you're going to find things in your world. You can take a picture on your cell phone and upload it, or you can find clip art on the web. You can make your own shapes, make your own image using the little shapes feature. You can even upload a video if you've got a great video of maybe you showing off this 1-to-1 ratio. But the important thing here is that I don't do the work. Instead, you do the work. So grab yourself a box below. You can assign it yours by putting your name right on it. And then go and find something that has a 1-to-1 ratio, either exactly or really close, and upload it. As you all are uploading it, I'm going to go ahead and use the audio space to ask a couple of you all why you chose what you did. And Erin is on slide 13. I'm going to just change the background here so other people can see it pretty quickly. Erin, can you tell us about the ladybugs and why you picked those images?
So I'm going for 1-to-1. So I did the ladybugs, and then I'm going to find something else that I can compare it to. So I think I'm going to do spiders. So I'm going to do 3 ladybugs to 3 spiders.
Interesting. See, I had actually thought you were done, and I was looking at the ratio of eyes to ladybugs. They each have 2 eyes, and I thought it was kind of neat that you included 3 of them.
That's definitely interesting because it's nice to hear your perspective, compared to mine.
Yeah, very cool. Emily, Emily is down on slide 17. Can you share with us what you were thinking with these flowers?
Yeah, I was putting flowers each with 5 petals. So I was looking for some more. I was about to put another one on there with 5 petals each.
Oh, and because you have the triple flower, I can also see some multiplicative reasoning that there's 3 flowers, and this same idea of 5 can give me another multiplied solution. I'll let you think about that one. Oh, Raha, you're down on slide 20. You are speaking to me in food, which is my favorite way. Tell me a little bit about why you chose what you did on slide 20.
I was really hoping you would pick me so I can say it. So I'm Bengali and we eat a lot of rice. And recently I've been eating a lot more rice because I'm at home all the time. And I feel like my rice ratio to my meat and protein ratio is about 1 to 1. So I'm eating a lot of food, Teresa. That's a problem.
Oh, very
So like
cool.
1 cup of rice to 1 chicken is in my brain right now.
Yeah, that's pretty much how we eat in our house. I'm not eating rice at the moment, but my husband gets whatever I make and puts it on about a 1-to-1 ratio with rice. Gail, you have a very timely picture on, let's see, you are on slide 14. Can you tell us how this relates to a 1-to-1 ratio?
So it looks like each of us needs to wear one mask on one face. And I work with preschoolers occasionally, and we talk about each saucer gets 1 cup, gets 1 spoon, but one face, one mask.
Oh, yes. I noticed we have some other current issues with this idea of like a 1-to-1. Sally is down on slide 20. Can you share with us what you were thinking?
I was thinking about how my hope with distance learning is that all of my students will have a laptop that's functional, and I was thinking about some of my kids that don't have that right now too. So it's kind of my wish for them is that they all have a laptop to do distance learning in the future.
Oh, absolutely. And I can see in here the idea of 7 laptops for 7 students, and that's the same as a 1-to-1. Excellent. So folks, that's a Find It. It's one of my favorite ways of incorporating student choice in the online environment. And so if they get used to using things like taking pictures at their home, there's several programs that are really nice, including Google Slides for taking pictures and uploading them. Kids can actually showcase a lot of different types of things. I will let you all, as the educator gurus of other programs, fill up the chat box. What programs do you use to have students take snapshots of pictures of things in their house and upload them? Go ahead and put those down in the chat box in case people are looking for other choices other than Google Slides, and get kids to think about math in their world. Alrighty, let's move into our rich task. You can join me down on slide 22. Seesaw, Flipgrid, Padlet. Not only are you figuring out these different tools, you now see people that you can connect with. You can private chat them if you'd like to get more information. I'm sure they don't mind helping each other. All right, so on slide 23, I have the reason why we do rich tasks, and it's very important that I ground it in this. I'm not saying just do rich tasks because they're awesome. Instead, I'm going to also give you the research of why it's awesome. According to NCTM in the Principles to Actions book, these 8 math teaching practices are essential for students to get a full conceptual understanding of the math. Today you'll see a clear goal. You've already kind of launched into that. We are going to use lots of mathematical representations and really focus on conceptual understanding. Slide 24 is my problem-solving oath that I invite everyone to read, and if you would like to pledge to this oath today, you can show it publicly by writing your name in the chat box. Awesome. We have a lot of great mathematicians and problem solvers here today to make our world a better place. Come on down to slide 25. Some of you have been asking, how do you do this with students so that like the cool part isn't revealed too early? So I just put what this is a white text box over top of my picture. And so now I'll reveal it. On slide 25, how many of you all know of someone that is like my grandma? My grandma keeps lots and lots of Tupperware. Maybe you have somebody like this. This is the launch for our task today. You may join me on slide 26 for our actual task. Grandma has a lot of Tupperware. Sometimes a container or lid becomes cracked and she throws it away, but she usually forgets to throw away the matching lid or container. This means that her already unorganized Tupperware cabinet has several pieces that don't even match. So we went through it, we pulled it all out, and we found out that 2/3 of the lids match with the container. And 3/5 of all the containers match with the lid. What portion of Grandma's Tupperware matches? So you all have several virtual manipulatives you might try on slide 27, and your workspace is below. I'm going to place you in breakout rooms automatically, and I'll also come in to see if anyone needs any extra support in those breakout rooms. But I know many of you all are ready to begin and jump into this problem. Our breakout rooms will start in 3, 2, 1, now.
Hello, I'm Max.
Hi, Max.
Hi, I'm Jan.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can hear you. This is Gerda. Okay, great. Thanks.
Hi folks, you all are group 7, so your space is on slide 34, and if you need more, just add more slides.
Problem. Does anybody have any initial thoughts when reading it?
First of all, the image was just remarkable. Just that like 1 second of action, like that was just such a great, surprising moment.
For sure. I guess, and again, I'm a learner here, so I'm sure there's more than one way to figure. My first thought was I tend to take fractions and convert them to like percents. So I was like, if 2/3 is 66% and 3/5 is 60%, does that mean like that's sort of the overlap? So of matching Tupperware? I don't know. What do you? What do you?
Let's see. Oh wait. What is it? 2/3? Yeah.
I'm not sure.
So which picture help you? The pictures that I put on slide 30, does any one of them help you see it more clearly?
For me, the top left that's highlighted in blue right now shows me that the red signals 2/3 of something, and the yellow signals 3/5. So it tells me the 2/3 is the lid. So you have
1/3.
We know how many of the containers. Well, we have leftover lids. I guess that's what we know.
Right.
So
Well, I'm thinking that if we have 2 that have lids, so those are 2 containers, matches, and then 3/5 that match their lid, so 3 containers that are matching. So we could say the total number of mix match would be
lids match with the container.
I thought it was going to talk about the 2/3 of the 3/5, but then I'm thinking that's not correct because I'm not looking at.
Yeah, are we supposed to make it 15ths? Are we supposed to?
That's why I did the second picture.
Yes, the second picture has it.
That would help.
15ths.
That's what I'm thinking that I have to add instead of doing 2/3 of 3/5, that we will have to be adding them. So in order to add them, I need a common denominator. That's why I made the 15.
Right. 15,
so
yeah.
Here.
So then it would be
6/15 is not matched, right?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
6/15 or is not matched. It's unmatched. It doesn't have a either the top or the bottom. I forget which.
Right.
So that's 2/3. Oh, I don't get that.
I heard someone talking about numerator and denominator. And if you're looking at this as a fraction, maybe ask yourself, what does the numerator mean? What does the denominator mean? Look at the other fraction. What does the numerator mean? And what does the denominator mean?
Okay.
So the numerator means that they're matched, right? Because 2/3 of the lids match with the container. So 2 out of the 3 match with the container, right?
Right.
So we could do 10, 15.
Hi, Group 4.
Hi, Teresa.
You all have
Hi
some
there.
really cool models. I love the way that you represented this. What does 10/15 mean? Does anyone know what 10/15 mean or 9/15?
So trying to find the common denominator to find equal fractions.
So that sounds like procedures in the story context of grandma. What does 9/15 or 10/15 mean?
The 10/15 of the lids have matches to 9/15 of the bottoms.
Lids matching bottoms. How can that be?
Right.
What might you be looking for if they are matching?
Common numerators.
Why common numerators?
I'm trying to figure out.
All right,
Yeah,
I'm going to leave you with this hint. You guys are now on the right track. And now I'm going to leave your room to let you all discuss why that might potentially be the right track.
Okay.
another, like if I, instead of doing 7 groups, if I did 4 groups, would it come out the same way?
Oh, that,
Yeah, that's interesting. So I made some ratio tables.
I saw that. That's a really nice way of showing that.
Yeah, I like that too.
But I don't want to look at the total lids. I want to look at the matches. So I want to look at, I don't know, let me see if I can fill this.
Well, no, you can look at total. Couldn't you have total as the denominator? Like as that, like you have.
But I want the matches to match. The lids and containers. So I want 6 lids to match with 6 containers.
Yeah.
So it's really that these are ratios that we're talking about. And I have 6 lids match 6 containers colored in yellow here.
Yeah.
So that I have, let me see, I have 12 pieces that match out of 19 total pieces. So,
and then if you brought that down even more, like if you added, can I add one more level here? I'm going to add.
One.
Hi there, group 2.
Hi.
I'm always excited when I see something a little unexpected and I get to think about it some more. Can someone tell me about the model with this green arrow, what it means, and what I should know?
That was anonymous mink, whoever that is. Wasn't me. Who put that in there? I forget.
It's me.
Okay, speak.
I'm still trying out things.
So I'm starting to understand it a little bit just by looking some more. And there is something really beautiful about this model, and I didn't expect it initially. So take some time and talk it over with your group, but I'd love for you all to be able to kind of present this model to the whole group.
Oh, God. Somebody's going to have to present to the group.
Who's anonymous Mink? Tell us what.
And of those, there's 6 sets, which actually accounts for 12 things that are a part of a set, like that make Tupperware usable, I guess. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then I'm also wondering now, are there multiple solutions?
I don't think there could be with this, but like I said, just from the beginning, I've had trouble picturing when it says portion and how it's
the
related
portion
to
part is, it sounds like it's a ratio we're looking for, definitely.
Yeah.
But we don't have a number. I think that's where we may be. I probably will be getting stumped. I don't have 2/3 of something. It's 2/3, and 3/5 is not 3/5 of something. It's not a set number.
Right.
That's what they have. So I think that's.
What happened to my access?
It'd be 38 out of 60, which would almost be 2/3. Yeah.
Hi, group.
Hi.
So I can see you all have 19 out of 30. Is that right?
Yes. Well, it's one possibility.
Wonderful. Well, I'm wondering if maybe you could model that for us. What would that, like, could you almost give us an example? And there's some tools that we can use right here within Google Slides to make this easier. You can copy and paste this red bit here that I made for a lid. And you can also copy and paste, let's find a lovely cube. This little cube here, we'll make it kind of light pink, and that'll be the bottom or the container. Would you be able to model what it looked like to show the matches and the non-matches so that we could see all 30 and then 19 also?
Oh, God.
Feel free to add a new slide, but I'm curious
Okay.
what that would look like.
Okay.
All right. Can somebody?
All right, group 7.
A ratio, excuse me.
Hi there, group 4. It's been a little while. How's your understanding changed?
So I thought about the common numerators and discovered that if I have 6 lids and 6 bottoms that match up, then I would have 3 lids that had no match and 4 bottoms that didn't have a match.
Oh, and is this the model that you have to show the matches and the X being no matches?
Yes.
So one thing I'd love for you all to be able to discuss is the learning process. In our whole group conversation, that's going to start in about 2 minutes here. Most people started with this idea of 15 being super important, and then you transitioned to the 6. And so what I'm curious of is, as learners, how did you make that great leap? And what kind of informed that? So I'll come to your group and anyone can talk about it, but I think that should be really open to the other teachers who might still be at the 15s.
Thank you.
All right, which ones should go first? So we'll do the table first, and then we need to make a connection to Tacomas. That'll go second. And we'll see those connections in third. We'll take that to fourth and this to fifth. We'll come back down to group 8 method to confirm. All right. Welcome back to the main room. Oh my goodness, can you believe you've been working for 20 minutes on that already? And to be completely transparent, yes, I would give my students much more time on this, but I'm here to inspire teachers, and you all have wonderful ways of continuing your learning even after. All right, we're going to unpack this problem through the 5 practices. And so I have already gone through, selected just a couple of these with very purposeful questions as I sequence through it so that we can all gain a better understanding of the problem. We are going to start off on slide number 28. And specifically, we're only going to talk about the one here with the orange arrow. So on slide 28, this group kind of did these 4 different columns. And if you all would explain to us, why did you look at these columns and what's important for us to notice?
So these were ratios of lids that match to the total number of lids. So I made 2 ratio tables, one for lids and one for containers. And I knew that the lids and containers had to match, so I needed those numbers, they're yellow or green, to be the same. Yeah, the 6s.
Cool.
And then if you have 6 lids with 6 containers that match, that meant that the total number of pieces was 9 lids plus 10 containers, 19 total pieces. So 12/19ths of the pieces match.
Very cool. Let's do a quick check for understanding. If you are from another group, I'm going to highlight a section of this pink. What would the pink row mean? Can someone from another group just check for understanding, make sure we understand the table? What does this mean? Go ahead, Molly.
I think, let's see, that keeping that ratio of 2 to 3, that it would be 10 to 15. But then that group didn't see the 10 on the right-hand column, so they didn't highlight that because there couldn't be a match with the number of lids and the number of containers, I think.
Cool. Yeah. So that number's not there. Now the 15 is there, and that kind of threw some people for a little bit of a loop, and we'll look at that also. All right. So Gail saw that there were 6 lids that matched 6 containers. She found the total lids, total containers. Let's connect that with group 4. They are down on slide 32. And group 4, again, down slide 32. Group 4 also was playing around with the idea of this 15. And then they made a new model. So group 4, go ahead and take over my yellow arrow and walk us through what were you thinking with the 15 and how did that lead you to your model?
So I can talk about the model where the arrow is, and I can infer what happened with this model with the fraction circles. A lot of our group members didn't have their microphone working, so it was just like stuff thrown on the slide at one time. So I think when we saw that there were two fractions, and it just popped into our head to do common denominator, because that's what we're basically programmed to do a lot of times. But the 10/15ths and the 9/15ths would mean that you had 15 pieces, both 15 tops and 15 bottoms, but only 10 tops would match 9 of the bottoms. So that didn't give us exactly what we were looking for. We wanted a top to match all of the bottoms that we had. So what we did here with the L's and the B's is we just kept the ratio for the lids was 2 to 3. So we started off with two L's, 1 X to show the one lid that didn't match. And then we added the B's, which were 3 to 5. And we just kept repeating until we had an L and a B for each one, right? So that gave us 6 lids, 6 bottoms, 3 lids with no match, 5 bottoms with no match. And we would get the same ratio as the first group that shared.
Wonderful, Tacoma. Thanks for sharing with us. If we can just do a little hive mentality here and everyone participate. On slide 32, I've started a color code so that we can see this 2 to 3 ratio. And if anyone wants to continue with the L's and the X's, the B's and the X's, go ahead and continue that. You can write directly on there. But what does it mean when Tacoma said a 2 to 3 ratio, but I'm only seeing a 2 to 1 ratio? I'm only seeing 2 red L's to 1 red X. What's going on there? Is it 2 to 3 or is it 2 to 1?
I think it's depending, Dr. Wales, this is Erin. I think it's if you're talking about total pieces versus, so if you're saying 2 to 1, that means, 2 lids for every, 1 bottom or something like that. But then if we're talking about total pieces, then that changes the other part.
Oh, so in the little red L's, there's 2 L's to 1 red X, but there's also 2 red L's to 3 red letters or pieces. Cool. All right, let's keep connecting. Group 2 has a lovely little model that I spent a while trying to understand, and now I love it. So slide 29, let's all go up to 29. On 29, Group 2, can you explain what is so awesome about this model?
Remember, Anonymous Mink was supposed to talk. I think the person that did this, I think they were putting 2 wholes together and breaking it up into the fifths and the third. What was it? Into the 1, 2, 3, sixth and into tenths. So it was supposed to be, I think we had tenths and sixths. So 4 sixths and 6 tenths, I'm pretty sure. But then we kept figuring it wasn't lining up. It would never line up. So we were trying to figure out there's got to be however many they have in these equivalent fractions, 1 lid is missing or 1 container is missing from the lid.
Right, they're not lining up, are they? Here's your 15 and here's your 15. Why aren't they in the same row? Now, That is the cool thing that we're investigating today. And if you take a look at this purple and green model and we relate it to what another group did in group 7, I think we can finish this model. Let's go to group 7, slide 35. Slide 35. Group 7, what did you do over here? Again, we're on slide 35. What was your thought process?
We wanted the lids and the containers to match up. So first, when you look at 2/3 of the lids and 3/5 of the containers, the 2 and the 3 don't match. So I'm going to have one container that doesn't have a lid. So I kept copying it to see how many copies of the 2/3 I needed to make and how many copies of the 3/5 I needed to make until I'd have a matching amount of lids and containers. And thinking about my equivalent fractions, I labeled there that 2/3 is the same as 6/9 and 3/5 is the same as 6/10. So overall, we found that there were 6 pieces where we could match them up, and we'd have 12 pieces, but together they're 6 combined sets. So there's 6 matches, 12 matching pieces, but then we have these others that are the ones that were lonely friends that didn't have a match, and that's how we got 19 overall.
Wonderful. And those 6s, they kind of double count, right? Because there's a lid and a container. And so the idea that 6 is actually equal to 12, first of all, is crazy. But that we also count the extras. Now let's go back to group 2. What do we need to finish in this model, everyone? What needs to happen in their model? Slide 29. They need to add a little bit more to this model. What do they need to do? We do need 6 green. Angela, tell us a little bit more. What would you suggest that they would do?
So I think they just need the bottom green number line piece, like half of that one more time in there, if I'm getting it right, because then they'll have the 6 lids and the 6 containers that all match. The ones that are in color are the ones that match, right?
There you go.
And then we can count up all the totals from there.
All right, so we had that 6-to-10 ratio for purple. What's the ratio for the green now? Who's got that one? How many green to how many total pieces?
9.
Okay, now we're getting that 6 popping up again. Alrighty. Let's see. So we have our purple and green pieces. They made copies. Let's check out what group 5 did in terms of copies. They did something really cool. Come down to slide 33. And they used the notation of X, Y, and they used color. Again, slide 33. Group, can you tell us how you set up this lovely table?
Hi.
Hi, Remy, go ahead.
Hi. Yeah, I was just thinking about how can I draw something that can represent both on the same thing. So
I think, oh, Remy's reconnecting. Is there?
all the Y.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and then I have all the, oops. Sorry.
That's all right. I'm moving some stuff out so we can get some comparisons. You can keep telling us about this. Go ahead.
So I was just trying to have the 3/5 blue. And then whenever they overlap, I put both X and Y to it. And then I change the parts that have X and Y to green.
All right, folks. This is a big check for understanding who sees a connection between the purple and green model, it's on slide 33 now, with the XY model. I want to hear some voices. What connections do you see?
Hi, this is Karina. I can see the 6 out of 9 and the 6 out of 10.
All right, Karina, where do you see the 6 out of 9?
I see the 6 XY that are green out of the 9 that could have been all together with the Y's. And then I see the 6 out of 10 XY with the X's. So there's 10 possibilities and there's 9 possibilities.
Neat. Who sees another connection? I've included one from our earlier conversation on this slide also.
Hi, this is Laura. So in the earlier, the other group that had done it more like the Unifix cube style, what I see in the matrix is where you're basically as if you took the 6 and overlapped it. So almost like you're seeing it as if it was laid out in area model. The earlier group that did it, the Unifix cube style, it's almost like you're just separating them out and you're seeing them separate versus seeing them together all at once.
Neat. All right, folks, now the big question. Why did we focus on the 6? And why did we not focus on the 15? Go ahead and put your teacher hats on now. We can talk in terms of mathematical terms that we know. But what was 15 and what is 6? And why did we focus on one and not the other? I'm going to put the 15s on slide 33 since that's where most of us are. And the big question, why didn't we focus on 15? Why did we focus on 6? Sally, can you tell us a little bit more?
Sure. I think to get those matching pieces, the numerators had to be the same instead of the denominators. Not sure how I can explain it, but I'm thinking about the parts versus the total parts. And since we were combining different kinds of pieces of Tupperware, I think that's why we needed to look at the numerators.
Yes, absolutely. Raha, you made a connection to that. Can you tell us again what you had just typed there?
Sure. I will tell you I'm very confused, so you are pushing my thinking today because we're so trained to think about the denominators and not the numerator. But 15 is what we needed to find a common ground, so the common whole, because we can't compare two different wholes. And the 6 is basically what's matching. So instead of thinking about the common whole, we had to think about the parts that match, which was the 6.
Lovely. And the interesting thing about this problem is kids who have not already been instructed to find common denominators will actually have better access to this problem than kids who have already been trained to look for common denominators, which is a really interesting way of giving access to math to lots of different people here. Go ahead, Margaret.
Okay, so one of the things that that I realized in this process was this idea that one reason that the 15 wasn't really the relevant amount had to do with the fact that we're dealing with these almost like real holes. So we have multiple holes that we're dealing with. So we're using the term fraction, but we're not dealing with something less than 1. We're dealing with a much with these objects that need to find partnerships almost. And so when we focus so much on the leaving the real world and going right into the mathematics, which is exactly where I went, we lose track of the meaning behind the problem.
Exactly. And that meaning brings us right back up to those 8 math teaching practices that we stated in the beginning. We've got to make some conceptual understanding. We've got to relate it to the real world. And it's through our discussion that we actually can unpack the mathematics. All right, folks, I usually leave slide 43 up for you all to see the multiple ways that you can connect this to multiple grade levels. Many of you all have also challenged me recently to consider the relationship to the mathematics we do with social justice. I am a learner in this area also, and I want to be very transparent about my learning and where I'm going. And I'm hoping to eventually rework this problem with the noticing that both women and people of color are underrepresented in politics. And so on slide 44, I am reworking this. If anyone has suggestions for me, I'd love to consider these suggestions and ways that we might consider how are these two underrepresented groups possibly the same group, and found some really wonderful resources that support specifically women of color in running for office in politics. So if you're interested in continuing that discussion with me, I invite you to do so. Slide 45 is just a reminder that all my templates are available for you all. And I'll spend the rest of the time on slide 46 for anyone who would like to stay after and learn some of the techie stuff that maybe happened or questions that you might have. It was a pleasure working with you all today on Saturday, and happy MATHurdays. Sure thing, everyone. Hope to see you next week. Someone's asking about different grade levels, and this is one that, depending on the focus of your conversation and the actual question that you're asking, it really can be applied to multiple grade levels. Clearly, having some manipulatives, some actual lids and some actual containers are going to support students to make the connection to those common numerators, but it can also be in developing the notation of fractions. So if we put this ratio up and we ask kids like, what could be in grandma's cabinet, they really can start to work with this stuff in the younger grades. Oh, wonderful. So somebody asked for suggestions for someone to practice in performing rich tasks. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you mean here?
Sure. This is Sheila, and I'm just, beginning my math instruction and probably my understanding. So this was I really felt out of my depth with this task, and I guess I just would like to have a little more practice so that I feel less lost. I don't know if looking at other rich tasks, if there's a site that I should go to, or maybe that's not the best approach. Thanks.
Sheila, you asked a really good question, and I think it's one that a lot of educators can relate to. Rich tasks are called rich tasks because they are so rich. I've done this task now with teachers probably for about 7 different years in a variety of contexts, and every time I'm learning something new. every time I'm making more and more connections. You have people in here who have been doing rich tasks with their students for years, and some who this is their very first time. And you'll notice that we all have different areas of access and different areas of stamina and endurance for this productive struggle. So I'm telling you all that so that you can, find joy in being patient with yourself as you're developing your stamina for productive struggle. I recommend networking with a couple of the fabulous people who attend these regularly, and just kind of let your guard down, let your hair down, and relax as you investigate. The more practice you get in either coming to these sessions or just allowing yourself days to think about a problem, allowing yourself to be comfortable with not having an answer will prepare you for doing these more often.
Super, that's really helpful. Thank
Yeah,
you.
sure thing. Alrighty. Somebody had asked about how I do the 5 practices, and I would like to be a little bit more transparent there. I'm going to take a picture of my notebook. Let's see, insert. See if it has updated. Here we go. All right, so this is a picture of my notebook, that notes that I was taking during the 5 practices, or while you all were working. I had already anticipated lots of different ways you would use the manipulatives and lots of different ways you might think about the problem, including common denominators, tables, and common numerators. But then I wanted to select a couple of these to go over. And I think you'll see, some sketches about what I was looking for. We did start out with Gail and the table that Gail wrote on group 1. I've got this little number 2. We went to Tacoma's, where Tacoma was talking about the common denominator. And I asked them, well, what does that even mean? And then they developed this strategy for common numerator. I wanted to get us into looking at group 3s, that was the purple and green model, so that you guys could ask yourself what else is needed. So that when we got to group 4, the group that did this model, we were able to say, oh, they have a 3rd copy. We need a 3rd copy, and then make the connection to the 3rd copy here. Once we were comfortable with multiple copies, I thought we would be ready to look at an area model where we could clearly see 3 columns that matched these 3 columns, and 2 rows that matched these 2 rows here. So that was kind of the order that I was thinking about in terms of the 5 practices and the way that we would talk about numerators and denominators. So I'll leave that picture over here on the side so I can see the rest of the questions, but I hope that helped. Let's see, how did you break us up into groups? I've got a great video for you. I get this question a lot, so I made a video to answer it. All right, there you go. That video is specific to Blackboard Collaborate, and it'll show you how to pop in and out of rooms really quickly. Oh, sure. The photo that I did, I have it linked. So since I use Google Slides, I have all the pictures I take on my cell phone automatically upload to Google Photos. And then let me share my screen so you can see what I did. I went up to Insert Image, and I clicked this little pinwheel that's Google Photos. And on the side, you can see my Google Photos that I have been working on. You see cute pictures of my kiddos, but this is the one that I took today, and I just dragged it over and dropped it, and it goes right in. Again, I just have my phone to automatically, whenever I'm on Wi-Fi, upload my pictures to Google Photos. Sure thing. All right, folks, I think I got to all the questions. If there's anything else, just let me know. Otherwise, happy Mather Days.